You know, there's the whole idea of understanding the history of race relations in this region sort of does get bandied about. How do the both of you, how important do you think it is, and how do we put that history in context when we're talking about this, having this conversation? I mean, does it really matter that we understand the history?
I think it's a big deal to understanding the history. I was talking with Matt a couple months ago when we visited the African American Museum of Art and History. He really cared as far as the struggle that we'd gone through, and he really wanted to understand. And I quite honestly told him that it's probably something that he couldn't understand himself, since that ancestry wasn't really a part of him. But myself and a couple of my African American classmates really appreciated the fact that he actually even wanted to know. That was 95% of the battle, actually caring and wanting to know what that was like and how we felt. For him to actually show the initiative and just to ask us cogent questions and to just kind of wanting to know was surprising to me, because I haven't really had too many of my Caucasian American friends wanting to even know what my heritage and what my culture was like. They just kind of assumed what happened without actually even pressing us. So for the fact that he showed the initiative and he showed concern, that meant a lot to us. We don't really expect him to know the struggle of our culture, as I wouldn't really understand the struggle of his culture. But again, the fact that he wanted to know and that he was very sincere about it meant a lot.
Thanks. And to your question, Dan, I think it's absolutely critical. I mean, it is critical that we understand the history, in so much as it taints, or it helps us to understand the future. I think we're on a trajectory where where you've been sort of can dictate where you're going. It's a point of view, and if you want to try to reach across the aisle, but you don't understand where the other person is coming from, where their perception of you don't understand where they've been, there's no way that we're going to be able to embrace each other on a common goal. I think that it needs to be dealt with in some way, and I think the thing that I struggle with, and what Lorren and I have talked about through when we spent time together through LD at the African American History Museum, and been in other side conversations since then, it's really, and the thing that I struggle with, and I don't know that there's an answer, but how do you honor the past and recognize where we've come from and where we've been? And everybody has their story. Everybody has wounds or good and bad things that have happened in their lives to get to where they are. And we need to honor that. But yet we also have to have a common vision for how we can create the community that we all want. Because I think that everybody, regardless of race, wants a community that's thriving, wants to have an urban core that's thriving, wants to have a region that is thriving with jobs, with entertainment, with the economic prosperity that can be here. But sometimes I think the past prevents those conversations from happening, because there's been mistrust that's been developed. There's been just that historical perspective can somehow cloud that vision of that common vision of what we want in subtle ways that can really derail us.